The Truth Can Get You Killed, a Paul Turner mystery. Author Mark Richard Zubro. Publisher St. Martin's Press, New York. Narrator Eric Aust. Chapter 20. Momstead was in. They sat in the same room as yesterday. Mike Meade was murdered this afternoon. She gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth. Where were you today? Fenwick asked. You can't think I killed them. Where were you? Here. Any witnesses to that? My husband went to the hardware store for several hours this morning. He's fixing up part of the basement. We all know I hated the judge. Why would you think I killed the son? I may have met him once or twice at the most. I'm sure I wouldn't remember if he passed me on the street. We believe the two murders are related, Fenwick said. Do you have proof of that? Fenwick said. Two members of the same family happen to be shot by strangers who did not rob them. Doesn't rank high on my coincidence meter. What are the odds on that happening? What are the odds of a killer murdering two people in the same family? I think you have to look to the family itself. I admit I quarreled with the judge. If everybody who quarrels with a co-worker is to be accused of murder, the line would stretch from here to the moon. According to what we learned, Turner said, your quarrels with Al Meade were more than just disagreements with colleagues. You had words with him the day of the DuPage County decision? Judge Wright told you that? Turner said, Judge Momstead, we expect as much cooperation from judges as we do regular people. When working on a homicide, that means the truth as often and as soon as possible. I'm trying to be helpful. When we were here before, you said the judge was stupid, that he didn't write his own decisions. Yes. Our research doesn't back that up, Turner said. I don't care about your research. I know what's true. Have you read any of his decisions yourself? Yes, Turner said. What'd you think? I didn't agree with them, but they made sense. Nothing I couldn't understand, of course. I wasn't reading obscure rules on federal land grants. You read the socially significant decisions? Only two so far. But our researcher says, I don't care about your researcher. I know. Neither Judge Wadsworth nor Judge Wright agrees with you. Ask that clerk of his, Barlow. I had some conversations with him. The ones who really know what's going on are the clerks. Judges don't have a clue, most of the time, to what they're doing. They're politically connected lawyers who may or may not know the law. Barlow told you the judge didn't write his own decisions. Yes. What if he was wrong? What do you mean? We talked to him. He was supercilious and snotty. Why would you believe him and not your colleagues? All of them are supercilious and snotty. I guess we believe what we want to believe. Never in my presence did Meade follow a legal argument to its logical conclusion. He was an idiot. Was he an idiot? Turner asked. Or was it that he disagreed with you, and you couldn't stand that? That made you nuts, and you decided to get even. There is not one shred of evidence that I was in town New Year's Eve. I had my parents, my brother, and my husband to prove it. They were all here. I didn't leave the house. Would they all lie for you? Fenwick asked. I would never ask them to, nor is there any reason to. I didn't kill him. Do you own a gun? No, I don't permit them in the house. In the car, Fenwick said, She's got witnesses. I hate it when they've got witnesses. There seemed to be a heck of a lot of meetings between these people the day of the DuPage County decision. What was going on? We've got Meade, Wright, Momstead, and Wadsworth in various combinations. Maybe they met like that all the time. I bet not. We'll have to get copies of everybody's schedule. We could check Meade's at Area 10. Which they did. As soon as they arrived, Turner found the appointment book, and he and Fenwick perused it for several minutes. Some days, the judges had numerous meetings, most often not. Number of meetings means shit, Fenwick said. I'm not sure, Turner said. They were told that Francis Barlow had not been found. The beat cops had staked out his apartment. The calls to Barlow's friend in New York had gotten them a number no longer in service. Turner had a message to call Ian. He dialed his friend at the paper. Ian said, The Meade kid is dead? Yup. Unbelievable. Who'd have it in for both father and son? Gosh golly, I don't know yet. When I find out, I'll be sure to call you first. Have you found anything recently? I'm looking for a guy named Francis Barlow. Where'd you get that name? From a list of people who worked in the office. He lives on the north side. If it's the same guy, Carl told me he'd been flirtatious a few times. I'm not surprised. Francis is gay. Flirtatiousness does not a faggot make. Sayings from Ian the Wise. You get a 900 number and call it. Ask Mr. Wisdom. You think Carl was telling the truth? He was insightful enough to recognize he was being flirted with? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. We have independent confirmation that Francis Barlow is gay. You have any leads on him? I've been running a standard check through my grapevine. Up until recently, at least, he had a membership in Body Beautiful, a gym down on Clark Street. My source thought he spent a good part of his Saturdays there. I was thinking of stopping by. Fenwick and I can check it out. You want this guy bad? He may have been the boyfriend of Mike Meade. I want to go with you. No? Who's given you 3 major leads in this case? I admit you've helped. How can I drag a reporter along? Acting Commander Moulton has been terrific so far, and I don't want that to change. Besides, Barlow might not even be there. So then, what have you lost if I come along? No questions, no articles. If you're there, you're in the background. You are silent. I understand. I'm sorry. I was a cop. I do understand. I'm also a reporter. I shall be as discreet as you might wish. We'll pick you up, Turner said. Don't trust me to not run over there? Ian, you are one of the best reporters around. I expect you would sell bushels full of relatives to get this story. You stay where you are. You've helped me, but I've also given you what we've told no one else. I'm not going to wreck it, Ian said. Turner filled in Fenwick as they drove to the newspaper. Ian is not a suspect, Fenwick asked as he raced through the streets. He's my best friend, besides Ben. He didn't kill anybody. Fenwick gave a neutral grunt. Ian was waiting at the front door of the newspaper. The gym was on Clark, a block south of Montrose on the west side of the street. As they drove over, Turner gave Ian more details on what they'd found out. Fenwick added when he was done, what I have a tough time with is this closeted stuff. Maybe it's because I'm straight. I understand a lot from being friends with you guys, but I don't know. That's a powerful lot of fear. I feel sorry for them, Turner said. I know what it's like to be scared. Ian said, I don't see what the big problem is. I don't see why these people are so closeted. 20 years ago, yes, but not today. Lots of gay people are still scared, Turner said. You have no need to be. No person in the city needs to be. Chicago has a non-discrimination ordinance. You couldn't be fired. I think you should join that gay cop organization, in fact. You'd be good at leading it. People are scared, and have good reasons to be. You know better than that. Discrimination these days is often more subtle, where it can't be blatant. Personal slights, promotion skipped, missed opportunities, fear of personal attacks. Being fired is the most obvious, but being anti-gay can take many forms. Ian said, The world has changed. You can't call us faggots on the floor of Congress without a storm of protest, unless you're a religious nut and have your own call-in show. You can't be that vile. Of course, if you've got your own venue, you can say all the vicious lies you want about us. But who does that affect, really? All this closeted stuff doesn't seem real to me. It just doesn't make sense. Turner remembered the crack Ian had made the other day about closeted gay people. This latest was too much. He blew up at his friend. Who the hell are you to talk about other people's closets? You work in an environment where being openly gay is never a problem. How pleasant and comfortable for you. How many gay people have that kind of luxury? Not very goddamn many. It's the gay reporters and journalists who are so goddamn holier than thou about the rest of us coming out. But they sit there in their safe little environments and judge the rest of us. How terribly brave for some fucking activist to tell me how to run my life. Ian said, The more of us who come out, the sooner we will have our rights. I've heard that 1,000,000 times, Turner said. Most of the time I think it's true, but people's fears and the knowledge that human beings can be massively cruel to one another is also true. Ian said, I wouldn't live in fear. How can you be so blind and unsympathetic to the compromises most of us have to make? Like you never made alterations to hide your sexuality. We were lovers, I know you. We've all done the subtle little things to protect ourselves. The leaving out of information when having conversations with new people. The ingrained sense of self-preservation that keeps most of us from walking hand in hand down the streets of most cities. And in those few cities where we can, only in certain neighborhoods and often only in gay pride parades. We'd all like to be as out as you. Do you deny the dangers for some? Outside Chicago and a few rare suburbs, school teachers in this state can be fired if they're gay. Do you want them to announce their sexuality on television? Will you guarantee them a job if they get fired? Will you pay their rent? We're all being more out all of the time. Do you deny the dangers for some, even you, Ian, would hesitate to walk hand in hand with another guy in Wicker Park and most of the other neighborhoods of this city that don't border on the lake? I don't blame anybody in the case we're investigating, and I think they all have serious problems, which I have sympathy for. Which have probably led to murder. We'll have to see about that. Silence descended on the interior of the vehicle for the rest of the ride over. When they arrived outside the gym, Fenwick turned off the car. They sat quietly for several moments. Fenwick said, "Can you guys work out this gay political shit later? I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but it's awful goddamn cold. I'd like to get started." Ian spoke first. "I'm sorry," he said. "I forget sometimes. I know it's not easy. Sorry." Turner drew a deep breath. "I shouldn't have blown up at you." "Great. You made up. Nice," Fenwick said. "If you're going to kiss as well as make up, do it on your own time. You ready?" "Let's get this guy," Turner said. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. To offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.